Welcome to this video about using lease accounting, Lessee Accounting in JD Edwards. I've created a small menu with all the objects you would need for a day in the life of running your leases in JD Edwards. It's composed of Asset Masters, which is P1204, Lease Master, 1501, building the schedules once you have your asset and your lease put together, reviewing your lease schedules, commencing the lease, which is initiating that first journal entry, reviewing and posting that commencement, and then monthly running your journal entries. And again, another post of those monthly journal entries. So I'm going to add a lease and commence it and run a monthly journal entry for you right now. So I'm going to put a Xerox machine. It's company 1. Account number is our new RU asset account number. I'm going to say the lease starts in April. I'm going to save. My new asset is 35140. And based on the account number, our ROU asset number, account number, our default accounting class is our lease. Now I'm going to I'll add the lease now. This is our Xerox 2 we had in our asset. This is the vendor who holds the lease. Category code right now in my environment, it's required, but you can add other types of leases. This is your begin and end date of your lease. Your lease. This tab has category code information you're welcome to use. It's not required. The currency of your lease, this will default in from the supplier. It can be changed if needed. And Lessee Accounting, this is the most important part. Once I click this, the fields change to be lessee related. Put my borrowing rate of 3. Now down here, I'm going to put my asset I just created. I can leave move-in date, plan out. These will all default from the information above, or I can change them or add them directly if I'd like, as long as they fit inside the lease. All the way down to the required fields. What kind of lease is it? Finance. In this example. And down here, lease liability status. This will default with 5, but I'm going to make it a 10, so it saves me the step next after I finish my recurring billing and the commencement. Save and continue. This allows me to stay in my screen and go straight to recurring billing. This is the final piece of the lease setup. Now the bill code, I've created one for lease accounting. Asset number 35140. My start and ending date. This is a 2-year lease. Let's say my amount that I pay per month is the same. You have changes in the lease amounts, you just add new lines for those changes for each year. This is a monthly. Is it paid in arrear or in advance? I'm going to say I pay in advance. I can save. And save and close. Now I've added my Xerox 2. Next step is building the schedule. You can cherry pick one if you'd like to. I'm going to run it wide open. We only have one to build. This is approved and final if you want to look at it or not. Before you run it in final, I'm going to run it in final. Now the output will say whether it's built successfully or with error, and the error will show in the report. For purposes of this demo, I'm just going to go to the next step, which is reviewing the schedule that it just built. Notice the green button, it shows the schedule that now exists. That's what we just built with the last step we just performed. If I want to take a look at it first, I can see the two different schedules that were built out based on our lease information. We have our lease liability, and we have our right of use asset amortization schedule. We're going to come back in here after we run our journal entries so you can see what it looks like after you've done a journal. So I'm going to leave this open and jump to our next step, which is commence the lease. This will create our initial balance sheet entries. And again, it's my only one I have. I'm just going to run it wide open. I only have one to commence. I'm going to run it in final. Once it's complete, see it's complete. I'm going to drill into the schedule first so you can see that I'm going to have another green dot of completion, that there's a journal that exists. For commencement, or for any of the journal entries, it does make a reference of the journal entry, the batch number, and the date that it was performed, or the date of the entry. Same is true on the right of use asset schedule. And now stepping down my menu, I've created the commencement lease. I can now post it. And all that's left on a month-to-month basis is to run the monthly journal entries. So first, let me post this entry. And this is a special batch review screen that's just for balance sheet lessee accounting batches. You won't see these batches in the traditional batch review screen. That's been posted. Now I just have to run the monthly journal entries. My one asset. I can run it by a lease, I can run it wide open. Running it through May to pick up 2 months worth, so you can see that it will do a catch up. After this is finished, it's completed. Now I can post the batch. Notice because I ran for 2 months, April and May, I have 2 entries for each of those months. Give it today's jail date because I ran it today. These are for the months of April and May for catch up. So let me post this. Okay. And I'm back on my schedule. If I select this, I'll now see April and May have been run. I have those journal entries exist with our entries. And same is true on our amortization schedule for our ROU asset. And hopefully this gives you an idea of how simple it is to use Lessee Accounting and JD Edwards. Thank you for joining.